Just a moment. The volume is not on. Please, what about now? Just a moment. Is it better? Okay. Um, just trying to see this is working now. Just a moment. It was working perfectly yesterday. I don't know why all this day. Just trying to see this is working now. Behind the screen. So I'm just trying to connect it to have here. Behind the screen. So I'm just trying to connect it to have here. Have here. All right. So let's go straight into it now. Now, speaking of the word conflict, all right, there's the word the word conflict is derived from the Latin word confligere. All right, confligere. Now, when we say confligere, what are we talking about? We are simply talking about the combination of two words, which are strive, all right, not individually, together, all right, strike together. Now, speaking of, okay, I think it's working now. Now, this explains something, all right, that when it comes to conflict, there has to be two, all right, elements or entities involved. I'm aware we have intra, all right, the conflict within. Speaking of the type of conflict now, we have conflict within and we have conflict without. Now, this term, conflict, cutting from the Latin word confligere, which means strike together, explains that when we talk about conflict, there has to be two entities, object, subject, what of you, in view. All right. So, conflict, as we have it here, according to its origin, which is from the Latin word confligere, means strike together. Now, let's take a step further. Lexically, okay, lexically, according to Webster Dictionary, right, in the year 1971, the term conflict was defined, all right, was termed, okay, to strike, all right. So we have lexically, all right, in 1971, all right, according to Webster Dictionary, all right. So we have Webster Dictionary. It says the term means to strike, right? Which is still pointing at the origin of this word from the Latin word confligere. Now let's pay attention to this process because as we continue, okay, as we continue, we get to understand why the word conflict, what makes it conflict, all right? How important is it, all right? Are all conflicts destructive? Do we have conflict that are constructive? All this we'll get to understand as this course itself, GST202, is dedicated to understanding the term conflict. And believe me, the term conflict is constant, all right? It is constant in the sense that it is something that is part of our existence, all right? It makes human, it makes nature, it makes realms what it is. It has existed, all right, even before man walked the surface of the earth, all right? We'll get to understand better as we continue in the class. So now let's continue. But believe me, you understand the fact that this term is an action word, all right? It is an action word. It is something that has to do with doing, all right? Activity to strike, all right? It takes effort to strike. It takes effort. It takes being deliberate, all right? It takes effort to conflict, to go into conflict. Now, let's continue. We have contradiction arising from differences in interest, all right? Contradiction arising from differences in interest, ideas, orientations, beliefs, perceptions, and tendencies. Speaking of the term conflict, it can also be considered as what contradictions. All right, we have contradiction arising from, okay, differences, all right, arising from differences in interest. Now, in your own words, all right, in few sentences, all right, in your own word, what do you understand by the term conflict? I need you to use the comment section now and let me know, all right? Understand the fact that it is when there is there's a strike, all right? So in your own word, what do you understand by the term conflict? All right, so use the comment section to let me know. I highlight further points about conflict. All right, so we also have, okay, we have contradictions, all right, in belief, all right, contradictions in belief, all right, contradiction in belief, all right, contradictions in ideas, all right, perception, understanding, all right, principles. You can name it. The list is endless. All right. Contradictions, disagreements. Wonderful. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Edward. Mr. Edward says disagreement. Yes, I love that. Disagreement. Wonderful. Yes, yes. Thank you very much for that. So whenever you have the situations whereby people no longer seem to understand each other, all right, when people find it difficult to understand each other, when people don't see eye to eye on certain things, on certain situations, certain matters, the tendency, all right, that conflict will erupt is high. All right. So when people no longer see eye to eye on certain matters or find it difficult to agree, just like Mr. Edwards said, when people disagree, all right, then conflict is around the corner. All right. When there are contradictions arising from differences in interest, all right, when you feel what I need on this matter is my priority, and the other person feels the same way, then conflict will erupt. All right. So I need you to please use the comment section to let me know what you think about the term conflict as well. So now let's continue as we proceed. Now we also have, it says here, although conflict is a normal, all right, natural and inevitable phenomenon. Now take note of that. Conflict is what? It is a natural. All right. Understand the fact that conflict is natural. All right. Conflict, I think I should even put that out properly. So we have conflict. So we have it is what? It is natural. We have inevitable, all right, unavoidable, all right. It is natural, it is normal. Okay. So we have it is, oh, that's not what I expected. So we have it is normal, normal, it is natural, and it is what we see as inevitable. All right, it is inevitable. Inevitable. Now let's explain. Let's explain all this under conflict. Okay. So now, when we say conflict is natural, what do we mean by conflict is natural? All right. Now let's take this sentence first before we now talk about the meaning of these terms. Now we have, it says here that conflict is natural, normal, and inevitable phenomenon in any interactive situation of human life. Conflict is not necessarily negative itself. Now, a situation whereby there are living species, all right, in a situation whereby we have living beings, all right, in a situations whereby we have a community. All right, not even using community, because even as an individual, you go through certain conflicts within yourself. All right, you don't have to. Conflict is not necessarily limited to interactions with others. All right, as an individual, there are certain times, there are certain periods of your life you go through internal conflicts. All right, and don't forget, as an individual, you're a living being. All right, so therefore, the fact that you are alive and you are breathing, therefore, conflict is normal. All right, you might have conflict. When I say internal conflict, there are certain times you have struggles believing certain things. All right, identifying yourself, identifying who you are, can be a conflict. All right, you want to go, you want to become a footballer, at the same time you want to become a doctor, at the same time you want to become, all right, an engineer. You might have difficulties, challenges choosing a particular line of discipline. Conflict within yourself. All right. You want to go here, you don't want to go there. You are trying to weigh your chances. You're trying. All right. So it is normal. Now that is even within you. So now, in a situation whereby we are pursuing conflict within group of people, an organization, definitely you will see, or there will be situations whereby if there are no conflicts, you don't get to understand, or you don't get to know what are the dislikes, all right, the boundaries you shouldn't cross. All right. So it is natural, it is normal, and it is definitely inevitable. All right. So now when we say conflict is natural, it helps you identify who you are. All right. It confirms that you are human. I believe the majority of us know what we call natural wild, even among the wild, right? In the wild, among the animals, you see, some of them are very territorial, right? They don't want you crossing a boundary. The moment you try it, you are gone for it, all right? Among, even in the among plants, all right, you realize that certain plants don't survive in certain environments. All right, you realize that certain plants do not survive in certain environment. That's why you have some plants that do well, all right, close to the river bank, while some doesn't do well. All right, some do well close to the desert, while some doesn't. All right, this is conflict. This is competition. This is conflict. Inevitable in the sense that conflict can be constructive and it can be destructive. Now, when we say it is inevitable, you don't get to now you don't get to let's break this down to uh, let's break this down to humans. We as humans, there are certain times in life that you need to go through series of conflicts before you get to certain stage. Now, do you think it is funny? Do you think it is easy for you to be in the Open University? All right, think about this. You are in the National Open University of Nigeria. You have work, you have family, you have things struggling with your time and attention, and still you keep your time in check to be in this class. All right. Now, this class we are having, there are just about five of us in this class. Give it some time. Maybe 1 or 2 months, you realize that the views are doubled. Why? Because there are other people that need, there are other students that need to be in this class, but they could not at the moment. Probably they have other pressing and demanding things. Therefore, they can't meet up with this class. All right. Not just this class, series of classes you have to graduate. All right. Don't you think it's enough conflict managing things, all right, and ensuring that you have to sit up, prepare, and have the good grades for you to get that certificate and become a graduate. All right. So definitely it is inevitable. That is to tell you that there are some conflicts that are destructive, while some are not destructive. All this we'll get to understand as we proceed. So now, all and sundry, in as much as you are a living being, okay, you interact with people and you want to grow. Now, on this growth, I just remember that you know that before you start growing teeth as a child, you understand it. You have no idea the kind of struggle, the kind of conflict, all right, the kind of I'm trying to look for that word, all right, the kind of series of pain you went through just to uh, shake off the old teeth and grow new ones. We've seen cases whereby children, all right, parent loses their child due to this process. All right. We've seen, well, now let's even talk about childbirth. Childbirth is a very good thing, but can you imagine the pain a woman goes through just to give birth to a child? If a woman keeps such pain in mind, you see that people only have one child and they will no longer want to have another child again. It's and you've seen cases whereby people die during this process. So what are we talking about? So conflict is not always destructive and it is inevitable, it is natural, and it is normal. All right. So we have that as that. Now let's take a step further. Now we have now we have that as that. Now let's consider the following terms. It says here that conflict is inevitable and it keeps occurring in individual life, either at home, work, social outing, or even when we sleep in our bedroom without interacting with anyone. Please, if you're here to if you're here to smash the like button, kindly do well to do that now. All right. So we have that as that. Now, let's take a step further. Now, right said something here. It says war is a type of conflict. All right. Right said something. He said war is a type of conflict. Okay. Now, Wright proceeded. Wright proceeds to give two senses in which war could be understood, which are legal sense and sociological sense. Now, speaking of this, when we say the legal, when we say the legal sense, all right, to right perception of war, all right, we are talking about. I think that was in the Department of Criminology. Is it criminology or political science where we have just war, all right, war that are justifiable, all right. Each country, both countries that are going to war, have almost or equal military power, all right. I'm talking about sociological war. I'm talking about war, all right, considering, all right, social defect from one side or the other. All right. This is right talking about conflict in a large scale, consider or to be considered as war. Okay. So we have that as that. Now let's continue. Let's talk about the the types of conflict. Okay. Let's talk about the types of conflict as we have it here. That conflicts, all right, types of conflict. We have the intra group conflict, we have the interpersonal conflict. But just before then, want to quickly highlight what are the things that causes conflict. All right. From the definition, we already stated that when people have disagreement, just like what Mr. Edward said, when there is disagreement, then there is conflict. It is already there. All right. So it takes only the help of people that are smart and intelligent and are willing to give up their rights to make this rain. Now, there can be conflicts over resources. All right. This can be one of the things that can lead to conflict. All right. So let's take it as causes. All right. So there can be conflict over resources. Okay, this is self-explanatory, potentially easy to resolve. Okay, the conflict occurs when two or more people are competing for inadequate. This is the likes of what we have in Niger Delta. People are not happy that government is making a lot of money from the oil coming from their land, and they are getting it to nothing. Right, this is one conflict over. All right, competing over inadequate. When there's competition, competing for inadequate resources. So it is either both parties reach a reasonable agreement and the resources are being shared equally. We have conflict over psychological needs, all right, cannot be seen but affects the psyche of the individual and group of self actualization. I said something about internal conflict. This is a very good example of it, all right, which is the conflict that has with your psychology, right? You feel rejected. Probably your friends are doing well and you're not doing so well, or your family, your younger ones are doing well and are not doing so well, on your community, or even in school. You feel we call it this mentality of uh, feeling isolated, all right, low self-esteem. This is some serious conflict that you can't see, but only can be felt. You can only feel this kind of conflict if you happen to be the victim. Conflict over psychological needs. All right, can be seen but felt. So we have that as that. We have conflict involving values. These are conflict that erupts from beliefs, ideology, all right, religious, all right, values, all right, involving involving values, all right. This has to do with religion, all right. This has to do with um religious belief, right? Religious belief, most especially religious belief, ideological position. My forefather said, "This is who we are." General world view, all right. Ideological positions and etc. So very quickly, I think we're out of time. I want us to quickly touch on, all right, the types of conflict where we have the intrapersonal conflict. This is conflict that occurs within an individual, all right. Intra, all right, within. When you see within, intra, the conflict that occurs within. When we say interpersonal, all right, conflict. We are talking about conflict without, meaning that conflict that happens between one or two persons. Please, if you're on this stream, do want to say hello, hi, good evening. Also, smash the like button. All right, smash the like button. There are about seven of us, and I'm seeing just two likes. That's not fair. Please smash the like button, and also let's make this class interactive. All right, you can also say something about what we're talking about. If you have an idea of the subject matter, just say something about it. So we have intrapersonal conflict. So we also have intra-group conflict with between individuals or within a group. That is intra-group. Within a group, we have inter-group, right? When one group is fighting another group. So we have intra group, within the group. All right, when individuals are fighting together, we are in a group. When group group A is fighting group B. Awesome. Somebody just smash the like button. Thank you for that. And we have national conflicts. Refers to conflict within a nation. All right. National conflicts. All right. We have within a nation. And we have international. All right. Conf- conflict. All right. When we say international conflict, now we are talking about conflict within nations. All right. Within nation. So we'll call it wrap here for today. In our next class, we'll be talking about the classification, all right, of conflicts. So thank you very much, everyone. I believe you've been able to gain something into this class. Please let's do well to submit our note and send it to, all right, a follow of our note to the private class. We can use it to monitor our progress. Thank you very much, everyone. Do have a wonderful evening. Mr. Edward, Da. All right, for those of you that I was able to mention your name, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorials. To have a wonderful evening. Bye for now.